Probably go ahead and get the shells off and the skin off the wall.
I thought about that.
Take them cabinets off.
Take the cabinets off, take the sheet off.
We don't take the
I'd rather sell them than track them.
Oh, I misspelled Higdon. That was my fault.
You mean we have the announcements for the Moments Hour? Announcements pertaining to Saturday, March 30th.
Okay.
I'll say something about the first part.
It's being slow
Say
in
something about the
mine.
second part.
I brought the resolution. Hit the highlights. I found the resolution.
The lease, the annex lease, did you get that? It's in the package.
Really?
It's in the package.
Mr. Durden?
Just
All right, I'm going to call the March 12th meeting of the Macon County Board of Commissioners to order. And I've got a good crowd tonight. I'd like to welcome all of you as we partake in the business of Macon County. With that, we're going to get rolling right into it. I'm excited. I'm a landscaper, and we've had a sunny day, so I've got a good smile on my face. Announcements.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make one announcement. For the people here in the media, I'll be coming to you to talk about this date again. On March the 30th, we'll have two celebrations that day. That's a Saturday on the 11 o'clock at the square down here with the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 994. We'll have a celebration of the ending of the Vietnam War in March 29th, 1973. And we will have a program that morning. And Abraham, I'll be back with you to talk about that. Also, Mr. Bill and I, you want to talk about the one at 1:30?
And at 1:30 at the Memorial Methodist Church, everybody knows where that is? It's on Old 64. If you're going up that way, it's the little white church that sits out in the field.
Across from Lover's Glory.
Yeah. That's where we'll have the dedication of about 4.9 miles of Warrior Road to Colonel Tom McNish. If you don't know who that is, he was a former POW of war. And Colonel McNish also flew 43 combat missions over Vietnam. He and Nat Henry, former POW, of which y'all remember well, were two of the longest serving POWs in the Vietnam War. So about almost 5 miles of Warrior Road will be dedicated to Colonel McNish on that day. So we would ask you to, that's in conjunction with all the Vietnam veterans, which actually is on the March 29th, is National Vietnam Veterans Day, which, by the way, started here in Macon County, if you don't know that. And so, but on the 30th, all the public is invited to come out and celebrate as this portion of Warrior Road is dedicated. By the way, Mr. McNish went on to be Assistant Surgeon General of the United States, so, and pretty good for a local boy. So please come out and join us on that special day. So,
And that morning, he'll be speaking at our Veterans Day. And Tom Powell also lives here in Macon County. He's a POW. He's going to introduce Tom McNish, Dr. McNish. So I'd like for you to come, but I'll be going to the media because this is so far out. Well, we just didn't have another meeting here that we could make this announcement, but we'll bring you more, Abraham, and other media here. We'll be talking to you more about this date and time. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioners. Anything else?
One item, just a
Mr.
quick update on the planning board. If you got any specific questions, the chair of the planning board is sitting here, so you're welcome to ask him. But planning board took the what we had voted on for them to move forward with. They have a plan in place to start going out to communities, starting with Nantahala. I don't remember the date. Do you remember that?
21st.
And they're using the comprehensive plan as the basis for the questionnaire that they're doing within the communities. Then they added one item to the bottom of that, which is miscellaneous. So they've been gathering input from community members on any other issue.
Good. So that's the 21st, Jeff? Good. All right, I would also like to announce that our Board of Health is here tonight. They had adjourned their meeting, let me see, that would be their February meeting to tonight. For those of y'all that do not know, our Board of Health is looking for a new health director for Macon County. So they're been interviewing and looking at potential candidates. And our interim director is here tonight, Mr. Carmen Rocco, and some of the members of our board are here. Do you by chance have a quorum here tonight?
I think, yeah, we got 5 of us.
Okay. Well, with that being said, our chairman of our health board here, Ms. Melissa Bell, is here. I'll recommend that you come up, call your meeting to order, and then I'm going to make the suggestion that your board retreat to our boardroom right behind me here and go into a closed session for Mr. Attorney. That would be, what would that be?
Be for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter, and the reference would be under the provisions of 143-318.11 A6.
Okay.
To consider qualifications, competence, performance, etc.
All
of
right.
a prospective
All right.
or prospective employees.
All right.
All right, need to call the meeting to order for the Macon County Board of Health, please. And if I can get a motion from a member to please put us into a closed session for a personnel matter for,
As per the statute I just quoted.
so the statute that
He
you just
takes
quoted.
good care of us.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, guys. And if members will join me.
Now, if
we
you're
will-
retreating, just come out. You're not going to interrupt us.
All right, thanks.
We'll quieten down when you come out. Okay. Commissioner Gillespie has one more item under announcements. Go ahead.
Mr. Manager, could you update us on where we're at with the comprehensive plan in regards to setting a date for a public hearing?
The last I'm at the same place that y'all are with we received the presentation from the planning board, and the board has taken it under advisement.
Okay. Are
So
we in a
that's-
position to set a date for a public hearing?
If that's the pleasure of the board.
We need to add that in the new
So
business.
the 8th, you can do it tonight?
That'd be fine if that's.
What's
that's
the
up to you.
nature of the public hearing? I'm sorry.
Public for the comp plan.
Let's just nod on it. If everybody's good with it, we'll just add it to our April. Is everybody good with it? Commissioner
Yeah.
Shields,
I didn't
Commissioner Bell?
bring mine.
Okay, let's just add it to our April agenda then. There we go. All right, any further announcements? All right, well, if all rise, we'll observe a moment of silence, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Higdon to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Did I do that last one?
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we don't have any public hearings tonight. We're going to move on to public comment period. I only have one person signed up at the moment. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? I'll give you another chance if you're getting brazen. Okay. We have Sandra Swisher, concerned area, city and county. So come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. I've never done this before.
That's a tongue twister. Sandra Swisher. Sandra Swisher.
Members of the board, of the County Commissioners, I thank you for allowing me to come here and address you tonight. I am at this meeting to speak about areas of concern in Franklin and Macon County, and they are as follows. 441 from the Georgia line to Franklin. We have vacant buildings, closed motels with mattresses out front, curtains out front, broken windows, trucks, water bottles, and clutter. That's a beautiful area. That's coming into our wonderful mountains, 441. Number 2, scenic byway, Route 28. We have junkyards, closed flea markets. We have an airport road down over the bank, cars, vehicles without plates. That's our scenic byway in this wonderful county. Lyle Downs Road going into the lovely Rose Creek camping area. We have clutter, cars along the highway, unmarked, no license plates. Then we have the entrance, Cowie Valley entrance onto Micah City Road. We have urban clutter. I mean, that's a beautiful area out in Micah City. Then we have closed shopping centers, vacant buildings that haven't been rented for a long time. Then we have the area in East Franklin off Highlands Road, Main Street area. I'll tell you a little story on a recent trip. We were with a group of people. We were away in January, and they said, "Where are you from?" And I very proudly said, I'm a resident here for 30 years. And I said, "Franklin, North Carolina, the beautiful mountains." They said, "Yes, we know where that is. We were through that, but that's a declining area." I didn't say that. They said that. Next month, I have a group of people working on a collage of pictures, and I will be back with that collage of pictures of all the different areas that I am talking about that need attention. I just want to thank you for listening to me and your patience, because I am concerned. I live here, I breathe here, and this is my county, and this is my state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Swisher.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else like to address the board? Anyone else? All right. We'll move right along to additions to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if we could remove item number 10E, and if we could add an item as well, we'd be adding item 9D. We have Jennifer Hollifield, who is the new director at our Senior Services Center, along with Amy Ainsworth, here tonight, also of Senior Services, that are going to present to us a resolution in support of Macon County Crawford Center volunteers. And again, that will be item number 9D.
Okay. Any other additions? Commissioner Shields? Commissioner Higdon?
We talked last month, Derek, about I don't see Chris here tonight, Chris Stone, about the salaries for the staff at the convenience centers. What's the status on that? I'd ask him to come back. And I tried calling him, couldn't get him, so.
Right. As I understand, he'll be working on that. I believe he was under the impression that was going to be something that we would work on for next budget cycle. If that's something that this board would like to be brought back before them sooner, certainly I can give him that
Yeah, get it back. That thing, that's been hanging up for 25 years. Those folks making $7 a half an
So
hour.
have him back here in April to report. Yes,
Yep.
sir. I can do it.
And then we're working in the budget. I'm not saying let's run out and spend a bunch of money, but we need to address that situation. I
Okay.
think it's a shame that we've treated those employees like, well, they're not county employees.
Part-time.
Have no benefits, anything.
All right. So I think that we've added two things to you, Derek. I'm just going to remind you of a third one, and that's if you can have Seth prepared on hopefully our dog park, if he's ready. For our
Yes, sir.
April meeting. Okay. Anything else, Chester?
Do need a closed session,
Okay.
for the purpose of consulting with the attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege, and further to establish or instruct public bodies, staff, or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken on behalf of the county in connection with a prospective purchase of real property. This
Okay.
would be under 143-318.11A 3 and 5.
Okay. I'll ask you to repeat that when we get there. Thank you. Anything else, Lori? All right. With that, can we get let me rephrase that. We're going to. I'm not sure where we're going to squeeze it in, but when the Board of Health comes back into open session, I presume they may give us an update on their status. I'm sure they're discussing it right now, and if not, they'll adjourn and we'll find out next month. So, we'll see. So, we may interrupt that if that's good with all of you. So, with that being said, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Got a motion approved by Commissioner Gillespie, second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor? Aye. All right. Item 9A, reports and presentations. Safe Routes to School program. Jackie Moore, Safe Routes to School coordinator. Mr. Justin Setzer, town planner. Welcome, Mr. Setzer.
Good evening.
I like it when you had county behind you.
Good evening, Commissioner Tate and fellow commissioners. I'm here tonight with Miss Jackie Moore from Safe Routes to School. Jackie's got a presentation and some handouts to present to y'all. She works with the western end of the state on the Safe Routes to School, which benefits, I think, all of the elementary and intermediate schools in Macon County. The program does not go for high school age. And I've worked with her quite a bit at East Franklin with walk to school days and bicycle helmet giveaways and different events. And she is, her program is funded through a grant, a 3-year grant, and she is having to reapply for that grant for this end of the state. And she's here tonight to have a presentation. And I'll let her go into more, and I've got more. If I've got any questions that I can help answer or back up, more than happy to. But seeing the program firsthand and how the children, it benefits the kids. So.
You want to help me pass these out? And then I bought a prize. I have my contact information, a little notebook that you all can have. I feel like I've got a very short PowerPoint. Pictures are better sometimes, so you can see what we're talking about.
One, pass it down.
Hey, one time, how time?
Pass it down.
And then if you give us a book there, I'm sorry, too. Okay, I'll go ahead and begin. I'm Jackie Moore, and I'm the Active Routes to School Coordinator for the western end of the state, and I cover 8 counties. Should I stand over here? I cover 8 counties from Transylvania all the way west. I work in all the K through 8 schools, and our focus, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the things that we do, but I wanted to start out by saying Macon County Schools, walk and bike, they're rocking it. You guys are rocking it over here in Macon County, and I just wanted to share some information with you. So, just as a brief history, Active Routes to School project, the grant was funded from 2013 to 2019. It will close out the current grant May 31st. It's been a project of the North Carolina Safe Routes to School program. It's a unique partnership between North Carolina Department of Transportation, NCDOT, because that's been our funder, as well as the Departments of Public Health in Raleigh. There's basically 10 regional coordinators, and we cover 100 counties. So there's 10 of us. I'm one of the 10. It aligns with local initiatives and collaborates with many partners, and it focuses on non-infrastructure strategies. But with our program, it's led to infrastructure in several communities. And the grant, again, is ending, I said the 31st, but my last day will be the 23rd of May. So I want to talk just briefly about a few of, there's many accomplishments, but I wanted to highlight just a few. One of the things is we put this program in all the schools, all the elementary schools, and the principal, the superintendent was all over it. He comes to these programs and our kickoff events that we do in the fall, and then we do a program in the spring, and then in between, the schools do their own programs, so they continue it. So this particular school, all Nantahala students participated in a walk to school day event, and this is one of the very few, the only school where the buses actually took all the students so they could participate in it. A lot of times the programs are car riders, but this particular school used the bus to transport. We blocked off the roadway, and students were able to walk from the fire department to kick off their at-school walking program. So they got a chance to do that, and you can see them walking there on the left, and then it was the whole school participated. After that, they do their walk at school programs. So they do that weekly. East Franklin, that's one Justin managed. What we do is we do walking programs, kickoff events, a one-time event in the fall, and a one-time event to kick off bike safety in the spring. In between, we do walking and biking. This is the goal of the grant, is to get kids walking more, reduce the obesity, the chronic disease, and also their parents have started walking, whole communities have started walking, and we have helmet fittings, like Justice said last year. He was very instrumental in working with NCDOT and getting helmets for all the 4th grade students. It was a grant through NCDOT, and those are some of the things I come across as well. I have a direct connection to some of the grants and funding sources. What we did is we did skills course for all 4th grade students, and you can see they practiced the bike safety after they got their helmet on. Students learned safety skills. You can see the principal there. He got very involved with it. I train the trainer. I provide materials, about $500 of materials for each elementary school, and train them. We also train school staff and community partners to help teach it. And you can see Officer, he was a highway patrolman. I can not remember his name. What is his? Rico, Officer Rico. He came to my Let's Go NC training, a lot of the highway patrolmen, the law enforcement, and so I train them, and then they go into schools and help us. They're one of our partners, and here you can see they're doing hand signals on the right. But we want students to be safe on a bike. We want them to be able to ride in locations. We don't ever advocate for them to get on the streets or the roads. It's first about safety. We don't ever advocate for them to walk to school because we don't have the infrastructure. But we design programs that keeps them safe but keeps them active and fit. That's our goal. One of the things that we've done, our data went into active living by design, and we actually have better data now. It's not been released, but what we've done, they've done brain scans on children that when they've just sat, you can see the brain scan on the left. It's kind of blue areas, and then if they can just get up and walk 20 minutes, it changes everything. You see the red that comes into the brain on the right, and that's where the neurotransmitters and all these active receptors engage, and that's what helps their memory. We've seen about 20% more likely to earn an A in math or English because it affects that side of the brain. Also, our test scores have increased. There's been an increase in students' physical activity overall, and a 21% decrease in managing behavior. And what I mean by that, it's not necessarily the bad kids. It's just the kids that are more disruptive, where the teacher's trying to get the class started in the morning, but they're talking or they got a question or whatever. It's just hard for them to settle it down to be able to hear the instruction. So they come to our programs, and the teachers absolutely love it. They go, and we're putting kids with ADHD in the programs, making sure the autism autistic kids love it, as well as just the regular kids. They get this activity. We do these programs before school, so it also cuts down on tardies because I work with the school, I train the staff, and then what we do is we do an assembly program where I talk about the benefits and share all this stuff with the kids, and then the person at the school, they share, hey, this is our program, we're going to do it on such and such a days, this is when you have to be here in the mornings, and if you're late, you know what I mean, you have to be here a little early. If you're late, you can't participate, you have to come the next day, or whenever the next program is. It allows the kids to be on time, and it reduces the tardies. We've had a huge, even more than 20% in our region. It's great. The only complaint I've had about this program in 5 years has been a handful of them, and it's always the same complaint. My kid is driving me crazy to be to school on time. So I just kind of say, that's not my problem. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. But that's about it, because the kids really don't want to be late, and they want to be on time, and they want to be able to participate. So I wanted to share with you just some brief data that I've left with you. And what I have here is the Macon County Public Schools Walk at School programs. If you'll look at on the left, there's 2 bars for 2017 data, and on the right, 2 bars for 2018 data. The blue bars represent the one-time event, like the Walk at School Day where we do the kickoff for the school. We usually do that in October. And then the orange bars is where we have the ongoing programs. It dropped just a little bit, so basically you have about 1,456 kids participate in a kickoff in 17, and about 1,432 in 2018. But what's most important is the sustainability of the program. Are the kids continuing to do this? So you can see you have about 25 in 2017, about 2,500 kids that participate on a weekly basis. And in 2018 it dropped just a bit, it was 2,450. So you have this many kids in your schools, in your public schools, that are doing some type of activity in the mornings, which I want to congratulate y'all, because this is huge. I mean, this is really good to get that many kids moving on a weekly basis. So congratulations to you all and your kids. This one just kind of shows in all the counties I work with where Macon fits in. And you come in, I believe Macon is 3rd there, but we're looking at populations. It's just based on the number of kids that participated. I did not put in statistically the number of kids in the school and divide it. I just threw in how many kids participated in these events. But I could redo, and it may turn it out just a little bit different. But you can see across the board, and some of them that are really small districts as well. So. And that was the one-time event. The second graph is your ongoing events, okay, sustainable programs. So you can see Macon actually creeped up there, and you guys are beating Jackson now, I believe, okay, in those programs with your kids. So let me share with you some results that count. So this was just phenomenal to me, and I have to tell you just a really brief story. When the state came up, the Raleigh folks came up in 2014 and shared this program and said, hey, we want to have 10 coordinators trained, we want you in 8 counties, we want 100 counties served, but we really want sustainable programs. That's what we want. We want the kids to keep moving. So I asked them, and they weren't very, I guess they were nice, but I didn't feel like it was nice, because they talked to me like, well, y'all are in the mountains and you don't have a lot going on up here, and just do whatever you can. And I took that as, whoa, wait a minute. So I said, okay, I know kids can't walk to school here because we're not in neighborhoods, you know what I mean, or that kind of stuff. I mean, Davidson, if you've ever been there, it's a planned community where you can walk and bike anywhere. That's how they plan that. But I said, we don't have that, but if you want sustainable programs, can we do these at school? And they said, yes, absolutely. So that's where we do ours. So in the 1 year they had, there was 21,552 kids that continued to walk weekly across the state, 100 counties. Well, our numbers in just our one region was 12,143 kids. So we have 56% of the state in sustainable walking programs. So to me, that's huge. And they've checked my numbers 8 times. Okay, and everything turned out, and we put in form stack and all this stuff. So you can tell the West is just huge. You know what I mean? We've done such a good job, and that's thanks to you guys and your schools and all the kids and parents that support it and participate. So one of the other things that we do that's really neat is the Let's Go NC curriculum, and it's endorsed by the Department of Public Instruction. So DPI has approved it. It has all the core competencies, and the schools love it because it meets their school standards. So they can teach from it. Even teachers can teach, PE teachers. When I say it's free, it costs the money, but I provide it free to the schools. And I basically teach, I train that program and the schools teach it, and it's ongoing. So when people leave or whatever, then we retrain and whatever. But this particular program is a video series where it's kids teaching kids correct behavior. There's a series in pedestrian and a series in bicycling. And it's been going on a little bit. There were some older kids. Sometimes high school kids can be indirectly. They can just happen to be at a summer camp or something like that. Even though it's a K-5 curriculum, it's the same basic rules of the road. So when kids are getting ready to do their driver's ed, a bike is considered a vehicle, so it's the same signals, the same, you know what I mean, all those rules and laws apply. So sometimes the older kids say, hey, I'm going to take this class and just kind of get a heads up on my driver's training. So I say, I don't care, it's fine, we'll do this. So it's kind of fun. This is just what I do with PE teachers, and this was Haywood County folks, but I would like to do in the future the same with you guys, where I pay for the subs for the PE teachers. They come and spend a day with me, and we put bike helmets on them, glasses, we give them all kinds of cool swag, and what we do is we put them on bikes, and we have them set up the course, and we have them run the course, and they can actually see through the eyes of a kid what it's like. And so they tweak it and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of these said, I've not been on a bike in 30 years. Every single one of them got on there. So we want to put this more so in schools and train, cyclists. And none of these were avid cyclists. They'd been on a bike, but they did an incredible job. So and I have a set of bikes, adult bikes, that I use for training. So that's another thing that we like to do. The International Bike to School Day, I'll just remind you, is coming up Wednesday, May 8th. And what we do is we do a lot of bike rodeos. We did one at East last year. You guys have a really good bike trailer here that needs a little bit of updates with the bikes and stuff. So that's one of the things we're looking at with this new phase. So basically, I'm toward the end here, and the new Safe Routes to School Non-Infrastructure Transportation Alternatives Grant. So there's a new grant that's coming out. It's out. It came out on a webinar February 26th. But let me back up just for a minute. We were told that this grant would be continued in Raleigh, and for some reason the money, they didn't come up with the money. We were told that there's been outside people look at the health data, and it's huge as far as the health impact this has had. So our funder that worked with the bicycle pedestrian division went and found another pot of money, and it's the TAP funds, which is normally infrastructure. It's the 80-20 match. But this is non-infrastructure grant out of the TAP funds, and it's for activities over a 3-year period. And we would like to apply for the same amount that we've been working on, is $100,000 for a 3-year project. It's based on a cost reimbursement program. It's a competitive reimbursement program, but 80%, like I said, federally funded, and 20% would be a $20,000 match. The local match is required and would include a letter of support from financial contributing partners contributing to the match. So with that being said, what I did is I had to find a lead agency, and right now Jackson County has been it, and I didn't have very long time. We have a month to get this thing in. It was a very short turnaround. They put us on the fast, crazy train. And Jackson County is going to let me know if they'll continue to be the lead, because they've just been doing all the paperwork for the past 5 years. I'm working in, I've got a $5,000 match from Jackson. We're working on a Macon County, the commissioners are going to be meeting on that. They're talking to the county manager. It's really close. I just found out about this February 28th. It got tweaked. The application was up, and I've had lots of meetings, and it's just talking to different groups of people. I would like to include 4 counties this time: Swain, Macon, Haywood, and Jackson. I would like to make it smaller so that we can do a few more things with it. Some of the things that Justin and I have talked about has been to continue working in the elementary schools with this project, to expand to middle schools. That's one thing we haven't done. To conduct the walkability audits for NCDOT. And this really is helpful. Now I know all the division engineers out of Division 14. They work in the different counties. And I'll give you one quick example. In Swain County, I knew there was a possibility of some monies coming up for curbs or whatever. And I just heard the rumor. Didn't know if it was true, but we did a walkability audit with the commissioners and the school people. And I got 2 division NCDOT engineers, and we found from the middle school to the main school, there's lots and lots of athletes walking down from the school to town, going to Subway, McDonald's. We've done all of our homework, and their sidewalks are horrible. There's no curb because they're so old they wore off the curb. So we looked, and it just so happened that there was a 2-week notice to do curbs and ramps with sidewalk connectors. So I had to prepare the report. We had all the people on board. We had the evaluation. And whenever I send it to DOT, they know that they've been involved with it, that it's legit, and we're looking at some infrastructure there. We did the same in Clay County. So I have the connections with the folks to know when things might be coming and what we can do, and just to connect, especially to get more monies in the counties and some of these things fixed when they come about. Sometimes it's really fast turnaround, but we've already done our homework. So that's one of the neat things. Another thing that we're looking at is to build an advocacy for more active communities, continue to work on the trails and greenways, the training programs, but we also we can make this grant our own, and we would love to, AARP would like to work with us. They're willing to donate $1,000 toward it, and maybe an intergenerational piece, working not only in schools but with the community on bike partners, rodeos, that kind of thing. Also to maybe have some of the, I call them silver seniors because I'm one of them. Well, I cover it up, but I really am. So anyways, we want them to maybe participate more in the schools and to get some exercise activity in and mentor some of these kids that really, really need mentoring, an older adult to help them along. We're looking into updating the bike trailer that you guys have and possibly adding some more bikes if we can get into the Buy America Act and prove that we've done that. The other piece that I'm really excited about is working with Mountain Projects. They've contributed $2,500, and they basically, what they're doing is to train their behavioralists and their counselors to be able to do the walking programs and provide pedometers and log sheets. So when a kid, the language they might use is, I'm ready to blow my lid, they will be able to take them and do a walking program with them, with the pedometers, keep a track of their steps, their miles, do some things that takes their mind off what's going on and readjust. So I will be involved in some resiliency training as well, working with these folks. Those are just a few things that we're thinking about. Justin and I have kicked some things around, and we're open to ideas on this, but we would like to include a intergenerational piece in the new grant if we could. So I'm at a crossroads of looking at $5,000 from Macon County for a 3-year commitment, and along with the Jackson, Swain, and Haywood counties. And that's it.
So 5,000, so 15,000 total.
Total.
5,000 a year for 3 years.
Have they committed?
Pardon me?
Have those other counties committed?
Jackson has, Swain has, and we're working on Haywood.
And the town of Franklin has?
And the town of Franklin is all behind us.
Working on it.
Yeah, they're working on it. I don't know.
Justin?
Oh, and that's all I have. I just wanted to it was great to have the opportunity to share that with you. You got anything else?
No, I just think it's been a really good program. I mean, the Walk to School Days, the first year we did at East Franklin, there was over 200 kids walked that day, and then the next year there was more. So you can see the kids really get behind it, and it's really good. I remember one thing she didn't know when Ms. Parks was still the principal. She talked about that first year. She generally every day she had she called it referrals to the office. I'm sure Mr. Shields knows what referrals to the office means. But but generally she would always get 10 or so a day. And that day that we had the Walk to School Day, because the kids were active, She didn't have a single one that day, and she said she never would go a day without having a referral to the office.
Right.
So you could see just the kids being active. They're they're not in trouble as much. They're more attentive. So the program's a good program.
Ms. Moore, what's your timeline for applying?
It's very short. I have to write the grant and have it all delivered and sent in by March 29th.
Do you need the money then, or just a commitment?
No, sir, just the commitment. The grant doesn't start till after. What they will do, the timeline is they're going to look over them in April. They'll let us know in June 5th, June 6th, and then there'll be a letter of agreement at sometime in July. So it would be after that. It would be the next fiscal year, usually for most
So it's
counties.
something they could
Right,
budget for.
right.
You have to come back every year and ask for the 5,000, or is this a?
Well, the
understanding?
goal would be to ask for it with a commitment of 3 years. Don't make me do this again. No, I'm kidding. I'll update you. I'll update you though and bring you prizes. I don't know.
Will they commit to the grant for 3 years?
Yes, yes. And the reason why we were asked what if you just want to do 1 year, the sustainability of it, the NCDOT is looking for more sustainable programs. They felt like 3 years you could do more than you could in 1 year. That was one of the questions that was the frequently asked questions that came out. I know that we have to do more than one county. We can't keep it in one county because it needs to be a regional program. I've already asked that question as well.
If we commit to that, will you commit to staying?
I will commit to staying. But I have to reapply for this job, believe it or not. So hopefully it'll all work out.
You mentioned East Franklin School. Have we done any other schools?
Oh yeah, we do, how do you say it?
They've done Iola, they've done walking program in the gym. She
Every
does
morning.
it At Nanahala, Cartuga J, the trailer, the bicycle trailer stays at Cartuga J.
And it goes back to Nanahala, and so we want to get it in more schools.
The only school in the county that she's not been able to get into is Highlands. That's the
And
only
if
school.
anybody can help me do that, because I go every year, 4 times a year, you'll get a big prize. Because I sit there and I talk to the principal, and he's just as nice as he could be, and then he tells me no. So.
Get one of these? No.
Exactly. You got it. You got it.
And Highlands is like East Franklin. It's probably one of the only other schools in the county that's got actual sidewalks where you could actually do a walk to school program. Where at East Franklin, we would meet. The first year we met at Big Bear Park and walked, and then when we started the bridge construction, we started going from the boat ramp, the new boat ramp on Lake Emery.
Is the reason you don't do school boards is a safety issue? Is that, why not run it through the school board?
What, run the grant through the school board?
I mean, asking for the match.
Right, I did, and a lot of the school boards, I went to every single school board, and they do not have the money right now. I started with Jackson County and got knocked down hard. And then I've talked to Dr. Baldwin, I've called and left a message with his assistant and stuff. I've talked to all of them and the money. Now, in Haywood County, there is a school foundation, and they're going to let me know. They have a foundation just for schools. So that's the only one that might do that, but that was where I started.
So it'd be in the next fiscal year. Our budget would be in our next budget year. The money would, the commit would be, but you're committing now, if successful.
Right.
Barbara, you think the town will agree?
I don't have my crystal ball with me tonight. I hope so. I'll advocate for it. I was there, I saw the impact of the program when it was at East Franklin. It's good.
I think we should go ahead and make a commitment to it. I've been involved in the program to some degree, and I think it is the beginning stage for a lot of people to start thinking about walking and riding and safety. That's what I'm
Being
saying.
safe.
So I'd like to make a motion that we commit to the program, then it would show up in next year's budget.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
We have a second by Commissioner Bill. Discussion. I would like to say I don't have a problem with committing to it. That's a very minimal amount of funds in the overall grand scheme. But before I would feel comfortable about voting for it as a yes vote, I would like to know that our school board, that this is a program that they want to see continue. If it's something, I don't think it's up to this board, in my opinion, to direct the school in the directions that they want to take their kids. That's what they're elected for. If they're in favor of it, I'm certainly in favor of it. If they're not, then I'm probably not going to be. So that's where I'm going to stand. Anyone else?
So would you like to have that, Mr. Chairman, on the contingent of the school board's
I'm
agreement?
fine with the contingency if the school board's fine with it.
That's why I want
If
to
they're
make
not,
sure you're
then-
gonna be here.
Yeah,
'Cause you're the.
Sorry, other presentations.
yeah, yeah.
So, Mr. Mills, you want to change it, your motion contingent on the approval of the school board?
Sounds good.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And I'll second that
All right.
change, Mr.
Any
Chairman.
further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
And we'll get in Highland School this year, right?
If you'll call me, I'll
Okay.
do my best. Let me tell you, who would be I don't have any, I mean, besides my kids going to school there, the person to get on would be Stephanie McCall, the Highland School Board member.
Got it.
And she'll have a chance to get in front of her when you get approval for this.
Okay. All right.
Good,
Thank you.
thank you.
So much.
Yep, absolutely. That was good timing. Good timing.
Our issues, I can get a motion to adjourn our meeting until.
So y'all going to adjourn until
We're gonna adjourn until
April?
our regular meeting in 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Yeah. 2 weeks from today.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Any opposed?
Thank y'all. So I guess we're going to probably, there's a good chance that we may see y'all at our April meeting then?
I would say so.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Diane. All right, item 9B, Niquosi Initiative Update. Ms. Barbara McCray. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you very much. I want to brief you, and I will try to be brief. I'm sure that you've seen the news accounts. We've had a lot of really good publicity on this, and I gave you an article from the Charlotte Observer, which came out today. But you all have supported the Niquosi Initiative, and we're very grateful to you, and so I wanted to let you know what was going on with that. We are proposing to transfer the Niquosi Mound from the town of Franklin to Niquosi Initiative, and this is a community development corporation. It's a nonprofit, and I'm the co-chair, and of course I'm the vice mayor also of Franklin. The county helped to establish this through providing some funding for us, and also through the involvement of Mr. Tommy Jenkins, who serves on the board. And I think his service reflects the economic importance that this initiative has for Macon County and the town of Franklin. As you know, citizens of Franklin and friends throughout the United States raised $1,200 in 1946 to purchase the Niquosi Mound, and they turned it over to the town for safekeeping. The town has maintained it for 76 years, but has never had been in a financial position to do more than just keep it mowed and keep it clean. And of course, it's been revered, but it's sort of, as you know, surrounded by development and kind of sunk down in a hole and not very visible, and not much has been made of it all this time. Through the efforts of Mainspring Conservation Trust and through our partnership with the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians, we're moving toward a new chapter for Niquosi Mound, and toward that, for that whole section of town. Mainspring has done and will do brownfields work on some of the contaminated soil on parcels around the mound. And the one that's next to their building, they've turned into a beautiful little park area that goes down to the river and has a lot of native trees. It's quite a nice addition to that section. The Cherokee recently purchased Dan's Auto Building adjoining the mound, and they've put $500,000 into this project already. They plan to convert that into a visitor center / annex for the Cherokee Museum of the Museum of the Cherokee Indians. Excuse me. The Women's History Trail plans a large public sculpture for an area that's near the river. And the town, county, and Duke Energy are working together to open a trail under the town bridges that will create a safe connection for the Greenway and
have a pocket park between the two bridges. These efforts coincide with the Cherokee Heritage Trail that we're developing with the Cherokee through through Niquosi Initiative. Niquosi will be one hub of that trail. We will soon be erecting an information kiosk at the mound. And I don't know if you've been out to Cowee to see the viewing platform and kiosk that has already been installed there. The interpretive panels haven't gone up yet, but you can see it's really going to be, it's a beautiful site. It's really, these kiosks are really, really pretty, I think, and they will attract a lot of attention. So that we will have a kiosk like that at Niquosi, which will tell visitors about the rich history of the site, including both the colonial and the white history, the Cherokee history, both. I mean, we are all in this. And that kiosk will guide visitors to Cowee and to Cherokee, where there will be another kiosk. And those kiosks will guide people back. So we're hoping that this will help direct tourists and visitors and local people also to visit all of these sites and learn more about our history. We're excited about the progress that's already taken place, and we're looking forward to much more in the future. I see these developments, including the transfer of the mound, as potentially life-changing for East Franklin and also for the whole town and for the county. I appreciate the comments of the lady who spoke earlier about the areas of concern, and I know East Franklin hasn't always been the most beautiful place, and we really want to revitalize and beautify and just really pick it up. I want to thank you personally for being part of this initiative and for everything you've done to help us improve that area. The Greenway, which connects right there, is probably the greatest thing, in my opinion, that we have going for us in the town. It's just, I'm down there all the time. I love it, and I see people, hundreds of people down there, all ages, people from not just Macon County and Franklin, but people come over from Jackson County and down from Highlands to walk on the trail. So I believe efforts to highlight the mound and to create more of a park-like atmosphere in that section is going to only heighten the greenway that is already there. The transfer will create an equal partnership with us and the tribe, and y'all are part of that partnership through the initiative, the Niquosi Initiative, which I hope you'll continue to support. I believe the other members of the town council agree with me that this is a long overdue gesture toward the Cherokees. I assure you the tribe intends to be full partners with us on this. I mean, they have already put in a significant amount of money. They plan to help with the maintenance of the mound and to help us with the development of that area. So, we really need the resources. We really are looking forward to being partners with them on this. And I want to emphasize to everyone, we're not giving the mound away, as some people have suggested. We're just sharing it. I hope that this will go through. Of course, we still have to sign the deed, so the process isn't over. But since you're part of this, I wanted you to be aware of what's going on. And finally, the mound is a landmark of national significance. It's on the National Register. Hardly any towns anywhere have an Indian mound of that stature and that historical importance right in the middle of town. It stood there for 1,000 years or so, and Europeans and the colonial Americans interacted with the Cherokee there for something like 260 years that we have written history for. And then, of course, we, the white people, took it away from them. That was in 1819, so that was 200 years ago this year. I'm very proud of the people of Franklin who saved it from potential destruction in 1946. And I'm proud that we are finally ready, I believe, to put up a welcome sign for our Native American neighbors 200 years after they were forced away. So, but thank you all for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. And I'll answer any questions if you have any, and we'll try to keep you updated as we move along.
What is the next steps, Bob?
Our attorney is preparing a deed, and we'll have to vote on that and sign it. And then we'll just work together to decide how it would be maintained. The Museum of Cherokee Indians was asked by the tribe to develop a plan for the museum, the building there, the annex. And I've sat in on a couple of those meetings. They're developing a business plan, and they have a consultant for that out of Boston that the museum has worked with for 20 years, I think, very successfully, they say. And a charrette, a designer with a Disney something, anyway, pretty big designer, to talk about what would be in there. And, should there be a children's area? Should there be, what kind of exhibit should it be? Should we have a meeting room? Is it better to tear the building down and start over, or would be better to reuse the building that sits there? As you know, it's not a historic building. It's a Center Block building, but these are all things that they're thinking of.
That's the old Goodyear building, right?
I don't know. It was Dan's Auto's Dan's Auto.
Goodyear.
Was it Goodyear?
Goodyear store, yeah.
It's a great big. It sits on like 0.6 acres of land, and it takes up almost the entire land. But I'm sure it's going to be very, very nice. We're trying to figure out a business plan to make it feasible so the museum can operate it without, just sinking a whole bunch of money in it and losing their shirts. So,
Has there been any discussion in this initiative of ever evaluating taking out Lake Emery Dam?
We haven't discussed that at all. I know that has come up before. The big problem with it I just remember from my days at the power company that it's so full of silt. It has acted as a silt catcher for the river. And because all that silt hadn't gone down the river, that has allowed the river to become a habitat for many endangered species that require clean water. So how you get rid of the dam without and if you could get rid of all that mud that's...
Well, they did it in Silva, or
They did it, but that wasn't as... I've been down there in low water, and it's like going through the Grand Canyon. I mean, it's just...
But a free-flowing
canyons
stream through the center of Franklin
it would be gorgeous. I agree with you. It would be gorgeous.
To gain something, you lose.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was in the...
Well, who knows? But that's the biggest problem is the silt. Because the plant does generate electricity, but it's probably not that much. But yeah, that's a good question.
Montana would catch it.
Can you remind me who sits on the Niquosi board, the initiative board? And
Who else?
Who sits? And the reason I'm asking is I think that Mr. Jenkins, our representative, is coming off. Do we need to appoint somebody
Yes,
new?
I know there's an effort underway to encourage him to stay.
Right. Okay.
But I don't know if he will. But he has been the county representative, and
Well,
Stacy
if you'll let me
Guffey.
know, I'll take care of that.
Yeah, Stacy Guffey is also on that board.
Okay.
So, he doesn't necessarily he's because of his work at Cowboy School, which is also involved on the Cherokee Heritage Corridor.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Becky.
Appreciate your time. Your service.
All right. Item 9C, presentation of program impact report for 2018. Mr. Alan Durden. Welcome, Alan.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Durden?
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you tonight about cooperative extension here in Macon County. And I have with me tonight 3 of my extension staff, Ms. Carol Pitts, who teaches health and nutrition through our expanded food and nutrition program and is our 4-H program associate. Joe Deal, our livestock and forage and pastures agent, and Julie Sawyer, our family and consumer agent. And I've asked them to be here tonight to share with you some of the highlights of their programs in 2018. But first, I want to share with you just some figures on Macon County Extension Program as a whole. We're an educational organization with both formal and informal programs, and our programs are our product. That's what we do. Research-based information is what we offer, and I've given you the full program impact report for you to look at your own convenience. So in 2018, staff members of Macon County Center conducted or participated in 209 meetings, workshops, demonstrations, lectures, and tours in the delivery of educational information to the citizens of Macon County. 4,919 people attended 960 hours of classroom and field instruction. Extension personnel in Macon County reported 20,977 face-to-face educational contacts, and Macon County Cooperative Extension received $23,138 from supporters through donations, fundraisers, user fees, and in-kind donations. Volunteers assisted cooperative extension programming, giving 3,972 volunteer hours valued at $98,069. This is the equivalent of 1.9 full-time employees. Volunteers reported over 10,000 client contacts also. In addition to being the county extension director, I'm also responsible for programming in horticulture, both commercial and urban horticulture. So in 2018, there's three programs that I'd like to highlight for you. And one is the Master Gardener program. And Master Gardener is this program that we started here in Macon County in 1991, and they take care of the Environmental Resource Center. They take care of the grounds outside and utilize that facility on a weekly basis, and donated over 2,000 hours of volunteer service to assist cooperative extension. Now, donations to the program and the Master Gardener fundraiser yielded over $2,500 to support their work. Association members also donated more than 275 hours of volunteer service at the Macon County Fair. They've become a big part of the volunteer staff at the Macon County Fair each year. Macon County Extension teamed with Jackson and Buncombe County Extension to provide licensed landscape contractors with the opportunity to earn the continuing education credits that's required to maintain their license. Landscape contractors have to get 7 hours of credit classes each year, and that's a lot of credit hours to find. We provided 7 hours to all landscape contractors in Macon County and surrounding counties. 27 persons attended and received 4 hours of technical training and 3 hours of business training over a 2-day period, and satisfied their yearly requirement. And last, but certainly not least, in cooperation with the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, Cooperative Extension held a pesticide disposal day in 2018. 3,493 pounds of unwanted pesticides in 298 containers were collected for disposal. According to disposal personnel and hazardous waste disposal contractors, it costs approximately $3 a pound to dispose of the material, or as much as $300 per pound to clean up a spill. And the value of the disposal cost alone was over $10,000. And this is an exceptional program that we're able to conduct with the Department of Agriculture every other year. And each year, I think, well, there's probably not going to be quite as much this year, but each year there continues to be more pesticides that are found in old barns and storehouses and in situations where people do not need what they've purchased. And this gives a safe and legal way to dispose of those pesticides. We all like fresh water, and we don't want to think of our water contaminated with that much of unwanted pesticides. We'll be glad to take questions when my staff members are finished, but right now I'd like to introduce Carol Pitts and have Carol speak with you about FNEP, the FNEP program, and also about 4-H.
Good evening. Thank y'all for having me here. I'm going to start with a little gift for each of you. This year is our 50th year of FNEP, which is the Expanded Food Nutrition Education Program. And I work with youth here in our community. I work with the 1st, 3rd, and 5th grade throughout. Let's see if I can do this without it getting rough. There we go. I've got it now. I'm used to juggling numerous things. So I teach nutrition throughout the school system. I work, like I said, first, third, and fifth grade, mainly those ages. This week, matter of fact, today, I'm working with fifth grade boys in the PE time, once a week with each child. And we made pasta with vegetables today. They seem to really enjoy it. I took a vote, said how many of you would actually eat this again, and I had 95% of them say they would. FNIP, like I said, it's been around 50 years. This is our big celebration this year. And on the front of the packet that I gave you is our success for this year. 95% of my participants improved their dietary intake. And to me, that's huge when you see these kids making better choices, being able to go home and cook that meal. I've worked with all of the fifth grade girls this year, all of the sixth graders from last year, and taught every one of them how to make an omelet in the classroom. Something a lot of these kids have never done. A lot of them never broke an egg before, at least not on purpose. And they were able to go home and make omelets for dinner or breakfast the next day. I always tell them that my kids, when they went off to college, at least they knew how to make omelets. You know, omelets are cheap, and so they really enjoy that opportunity. I also work with them on being active every day for an hour every day, and less screen time. Something we try to push with all of them. So I just wanted to thank y'all for allowing me to continue to do that. Last year I worked with 963 youth, and I'm only part-time for FNEP. So that's huge. My goal's 500, and I doubled my goal last year. So I try to get in there and do as much as I can during the school year with them. When I'm not doing that, I'm working with 4-H. Myself and Miss Tamara Talley, we both work with 4-H. Earlier, we gave you a form on our 4-H program and our highlights for this past year. We are starting up our archery club this month with the weather change, you know, and daylight savings time. I've already got 50 kids signed up wanting to shoot archery this year. So I'm very excited. I have a national archer who's going to come and help coach. So the land that you guys allowed us to work on years ago, 8-9 years ago, y'all gave me the parcel behind the office to turn into an archery range, and we've had kids go from here to local to district to state and on to nationals with our archery. Matter of fact, a young man that went to nationals 2, I believe, years ago is now a Marine. So very proud of him. When he started, he was 9 and he couldn't pull the bow back. So looking forward to starting with a lot of new kids in the community this year. We have 13 clubs that we focus on right now. I always tell my kids when I'm telling about 4-H, I say it's a whole lot of little clubs that make up one big club. 4-H has been around for more than 100 years. I personally grew up in Georgia in 4-H. And we have shooting sports, livestock, animals, sewing, chess, cooking, crafts, woodworking, and leadership. And that's what we're really working on, is turning these kids into, you know, leaders and someone who will hold up that community and come back and be a great Maconian. Last year we received $17,000 in community donations from businesses and individuals for youth enrichment, shooting, sewing supplies, prize money for livestock competitions, lambs for youth to raise, and steers for youth to raise. So we're working hard. We've had 14 community volunteers teach activities each month focused on life skills. We've got 6 volunteers who teach periodic classes, and community volunteers donated 725 hours to youth last year. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I'll brag on Carol for just a second. She didn't mention this, but she was awarded an award by her peers just this past week for the Program Assistance Association as best in the West. So congratulations on that, Carol. For 2018, a good year for the livestock programming. I started off in the spring last year hosting a farm safety day. We had folks come from not only Macon, but Jackson, Swain, and Haywood County. Had over 170 folks come and attend that. Learn about ATV safety, small power equipment safety, livestock handling safety, and tractor safety. Had Charles Young bring his tractor rollover demonstration down there and how quick that somebody can turn a tractor over and it don't have to be on steep ground. So a lot of our firefighters and EMS workers came, got some continuing education credits for that. So that was a really good program, I think very beneficial and eye-opening for the citizens of our county. Also had over 60 pesticide applicators receive their continuing education credits last year. I offered over 10 hours of those classes, both private and commercial applicators. And our youth livestock programs, I know when I was hired, one of the tasks that I was asked to help do was to reinvigorate the market steer program at the county fair. When I was hired in 2015, that fall we had 1 market steer at the fair. This past year we had 11. So I think we've made great strides in that. I can't take all the credit for that, but I do believe that the market steer program has been instrumental in getting more kids involved in the livestock programs. Also help with the 4-H lamb program. And thanks to the Jackson Macon Swain Cattlemen's Association, last summer we offered livestock clinics for the youth throughout the summer once a month, and they're going to do that again. We'll start that up in May, and so May, June, July, and August we'll have those clinics out at the fairgrounds, and again Macon County, plus we'll have kids from Jackson and Swain County come over and utilize our facilities in this program. Probably the thing I've been the busiest with for the last few months is industrial hemp. About half of my phone calls that come in right now are in regard to industrial hemp, and last year we had 3 licensed growers in Macon County. Probably going to have 8 to 10 growers in the county this year. So it's if you're driving down the road and see something that looks like it probably shouldn't have been there in the past, and you call 911, it may be all right. It may just be industrial hemp. So I'm going to head out now. I've got to go to the Jackson Macon Swain Cattlemen's Association and open the door for their meeting because I have the keys. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your support, and anything I can do to assist y'all, just let me know. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe, for all you do.
Hi there, thanks for having me. It's hard to follow Joe, but I'll do my best. So in the Family and Consumer Science program area in Macon County, I think most of you know that I work in Macon County 2.5 days a week, and I work in Haywood County 2.5 days a week. And I rotate Wednesdays so that I literally don't work a half a day. I do come over and work an entire day when I do that. My programming area, since I have been in Macon County, is focused on food, and specifically that is food safety and nutrition and healthy lifestyle, and where those apply. In the food safety area, I offer the NC Safe Plates curriculum and food safety certification class. The North Carolina Food Code requires that a food service establishment has the person in charge is certified in food safety management. So I offer that class. It's a 2-day, 14-hour class, and then the folks come back and take an exam. That is, if they pass that exam, it's good for 5 years in any state in the United States for that food safety certification. So I offer that class here in Macon. Also in the food safety department, I do home food preservation with a strong focus on preserving food at home and doing it safely. I get lots of folks who come to my class and they start out by saying, well, you know, I've been canning for years and I've never done it that way. So usually by the end of the class, when I kind of show them the statistics and talk about, well, here's a much safer way to reduce the risk of hurting someone or making yourself sick, they usually get on board. So I've had a lot of success. We've done everything from pressure can green beans, make salsa, ferment pickles, dehydrate, you name it. If you can preserve it, we've done it. So also I focus on food safety as well, just in the home, just basic food safety information, and I usually tie that in to a lot of my cooking skills classes and healthy nutrition classes as well. In that healthy lifestyle and nutrition category. I partnered last year with the Macon Senior Center and did a program called Take Control. So I went for 9 weeks. I did 9 sessions where we talked about healthy lifestyle choices. I did a food demo. Everyone got to take a taste test of the food demo, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed partnering with them. I also partnered with the Macon Program for Progress and their Circle of Parents program. I went out there and met with some of the young parents and basically covered that same making healthy lifestyle choices as far as cooking, and then we also touched on food safety as well. And finally, let me make sure I'm not missing anything there. And just to let you know, we started off 2019 on a really good note. I had an opportunity to partner with North Carolina Radon program. They asked if I would be interested in distributing free radon test kits, and of course I said yes. So since January, we have distributed over 120 free radon test kits to the citizens of Macon County. And I'm slowly getting reports back after folks sent those off to the lab. They are emailing me back the results of how those turned out. So, and then also this year I am offering the Med Instead of Meds program, which is a healthy lifestyle cooking class focusing on making choices in your food and your lifestyle, and you're adopting the Mediterranean eating pattern as a way to reduce the risk of chronic disease. Any
No
questions?
fat back in there.
Lots of olive oil. And just a little fat back every now and again.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before Alan comes back up, as being the liaison to the Extension Service for a long time, some of the things that Alan's not talked about is, first of all, this 4-H program that Ms. Pitts talked about is probably the most, if not one of the most important programs now more than ever for these young folks. And they do just a fantastic job. If you've never went up and seen these kids and what they do and the job they do, and as far as our Extension Service, they're not only the leader in our West, but they're continually a leader in the state. Our Cooperative Extension has been recognized as such and continue to be recognized as such as a leader. And Carl can certainly vouch for that as a real farmer and these people. And some things he's not talked about he may go into is the community development organizations. We have the strongest one I know in the West by far to keep our community development organizations. And the reason that they're still there is simply because of Cooperative Extension and the outreach that these folks has to the communities. And the next thing is the community garden. And the community garden is a little piece of land down by the Greenway that years ago we decided that we would donate the parcels to, and they come and get a little parcel. We're going to plow the first week in April, by the way. And so, and all that, I don't know how many tons of food we have been able to donate to CareNet, but it's been very significant, Mr. Durden. And so, but these are just a few of the things that the Cooperative Extension does that a lot of folks, I just feel that sometimes they don't get the credit they deserve. And the work, the budget continues to be a battle. If you can find it in the state budget, good luck. If you can find it in the North Carolina state budget, really good luck. So, but we continue to look for those things, and Mr. Chairman, I think that we're very fortunate to have our Cooperative Extension Service here, and Mr. Gillespie might want to talk about that because he uses them too.
Just a couple comments to echo some of the comments that you made. First off, Alan, I want to say publicly to you and your staff, thank you. Thank you for the job that you do. It's Cooperative Extension has changed over the years in what we do, what you do, and the way you do it, and the people that you're interacting with. And while there may have used to been more farmers here, I think it's even more important now than it ever was that we have an extremely strong group such as what we have, so that we can bridge that gap from the farm to the table. So it's been, we're very fortunate to have Alan and his staff. And we're, with the addition of Mr. Deal it's made an impact on our county. So we're just very, very fortunate to have you folks, and say thank you for everything that you do.
I really appreciate those kind words, and I want to thank you for your continued support of Cooperative Extension. And your comments reminded me just of a couple of things. Julie mentioned the radon test kit. That was such a popular program. I can't believe that I had forgotten about that. We received more calls in a short period of time. It was a staff effort to answer the phone calls that were coming in about those radon test kits. I've not seen the phone ring that much about a single thing since the early 90s when the multicolored Asian ladybird beetle invaded Macon County. And we got call after call after call on that. The community garden, Mr. Bill, I understand the road has been well repaired and it's ready now for our gardeners to start down there. We're advertising that. We put the press release out today, so that'll be filling up very, very soon. And again, thank you for your support of Cooperative Extension. You can see we have a really active extension office here in Macon County. We'll try and continue that. And that is because I have such fine staff. Each one of those folks, you heard, and I wish we could add to everybody here tonight. Tamara Talley, our 4-H agent, is in Raleigh in training, so she wasn't able to be with us, and Carol presented some of the activities that 4-H does. But we have an excellent staff, and they're the reason that Cooperative Extension is so successful in Macon County. Again, thank you very much, and anything we can do for you, please let us know.
We thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Senior Services.
Try to escape from Haywood County as quick as you can.
Welcome.
Thank you for some time this evening, Commissioners. I want to talk just a couple moments about some of our wonderful volunteers at the Crawford Senior Center. The Crawford Senior Center has truly been blessed by having dedicated volunteers who contribute many hours to our center. The staff couldn't do what we do without our volunteers. Our volunteers do a variety of tasks, from teaching Zumba to assisting participants in the Community Resource Center, to playing music in our adult daycare, to serving congregate meal participants, to delivering hot meals to our homebound seniors. All of these are very important tasks that our volunteers do. In 2018 alone, our volunteers donated over 8,346 hours to the Crawford Senior Center. And according to the independent sector, the value of this time is over $206,000. Two of our largest areas of impact include the congregate meals and the home delivered meals. In 2018, our volunteers helped serve over 12,000 congregate meals to participants in our center. And in addition, they delivered 18,258 meals and smiles to 131 homebound seniors. Knowing how much our volunteers contribute, we would like to recognize their contributions with a resolution declaring April 7th through 13th as Macon County Volunteer Week. I actually have the resolution if you would like to read it, or if you want me to read it.
Go ahead.
Have to put my glasses on for that one. Not quite a big a print. Whereas Macon County is a community rich in volunteers that dedicate their valuable time and resources to the John L. and Dorothy R. Crawford Senior Center, making significant and positive outcomes, great and small. And whereas volunteers have donated 8,346 hours at the Crawford Senior Center during calendar year 2018. And whereas the spirit of volunteerism provides even more evidence that Macon County's greatest resource is its people. And whereas volunteering one's time has been a significant part of our county heritage, and it is critical that we continue such a tradition to preserve and improve the quality of life for our citizens of our community. And whereas experience teaches us that government alone cannot meet all the needs of our county. And whereas we continue to rely on the efforts of volunteers to enrich our community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Macon County Board of County Commissioners do hereby thank and honor the volunteers at the Crawford Senior Center by proclaiming April 7th through 13th, 2019 as Macon County Volunteer Week.
Mr. Chairman, I proudly make a motion that we adopt the resolution as presented.
A motion by Commissioner Bill. Second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll sign it for you.
Great. And we're going to see you all on April 4th, 4 o'clock, I hope.
Yes.
For dinner.
Yes, April 4th.
April 4th at 4.
Jennifer, can I scan? Can I get it? She got a signed copy. Great, thank you.
And she's got a second. I'll give her a second.
Jennifer, what time was that?
April 4th at 4 o'clock.
We've got to be in Jackson County at 5.
For the region.
Southwestern Commission.
We can eat twice. Quickly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, everybody good? We've had we've been going about an hour and a half now with presentations, so that may be a new record. Old business, renewal of lease agreement between Macon County and North Carolina Department of Commerce for NC Works Career Center.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, real quick, this wasn't in, we didn't have a copy in the agenda packet. I apologize for that. What I did do was I printed out a copy of the agreement we're currently under. And if you'll recall, the NC Works Center used to be located at Harrison Avenue. And essentially what happened was the state had been paying rent at that facility for them. The state had stopped in 2015 paying that rent, and ever since then, or excuse me, 2016. So ever since then, we had Miss West at the time had came to us and requested that the county provide space free of charge for the NC Works Career Center, or they would have to move from Macon County. We have since done that. We entered into a 2-year lease back in 2017 to accomplish that. It is time for that lease to be renewed. I am the current signer on that, so what we would be asking the board for here tonight is to authorize me to execute a new 2-year lease with the NC Works Career Center for the 1,800 square feet in the SEC Annex building out here, and authorize me to execute that agreement after the attorney has reviewed the same and found that there are no changes in that agreement.
Yeah, I was going to say that I have reviewed the proposed extension and find it acceptable.
We get a motion to approve same?
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Gillespie, second by Commissioner Higdon. All in favor? Aye. Okay, item 10B, assumption of lease agreement between North Carolina Community Care Networks and Macon County Public Health. Mr. Jones?
Yes. It's a little bit of a misnomer. There was a proposal to do an assumption of lease. Currently, the lease is between Community Care of Western North Carolina and Macon County. There was an understanding that lease would be assumed. However, in looking at it, it appears that the better way to go would be to have a new lease. I have prepared a recommended resolution and a new lease. What we would do is authorize our county manager to discontinue the present lease with Community Care of Western North Carolina, and then authorize our chairman to enter into a new lease with an entity that is essentially taken over and doing some of the work of Community Care of Western North Carolina. That group is known as Community Care, or North Carolina Community Care Networks, Inc. And the point is a 3-year lease that will get us through this fiscal year, and I'll be back here to talk to you again probably in June about making an annual lease with that same organization.
Okay, it looks like Chester, they pay us some, did I read that correct?
$423 a month.
They do. They pay some of money. This is a group that operates in the health department.
Okay.
and has been operating in the health department. Basically, they have a little cubicle there that they work in when the rate got changed.
That's just strange. We get paid for.
It is.
We get a motion to approve
So
same.
moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gillespie,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Resolution confirming and ratifying the existence of the Macon County Community Funding Pool.
Gentlemen, years ago, the Macon County Board of Commissioners saw a need for an advisory committee or board to assist in funding various community organizations that came before this board seeking some sort of an appropriation to aid and assist in their operations. At that time, a community funding pool, board, committee, task force, it went by multiple names, was organized, and that group has since done a great service to the Board of Commissioners for Macon County, assisting in evaluating various proposals to receive limited funds. I mean, there's not limitless funds for these various things, and so hard choices have to be made. The community funding pool, committee, board, task force has undertaken to screen those things and make its best recommendations to this board. And this board has, I think, benefited greatly from that organization. Derek, Rowland, and myself have had the occasion to look into the history of that group a little bit, and we noticed that there were never any bylaws for that organization. We gave them a task, but we really didn't tell them exactly how we wanted them to operate. I've worked on a set of bylaws. I've prepared a resolution that would basically acknowledge that board, confirm and ratify the board that you have appointed, and adopt a set of bylaws that would give them a framework to work within the North Carolina statutory law.
All right, let's handle the resolution first. We got a
Actually,
motion.
it's we can combine
You wanna do
those
both?
actually
Okay.
because the bylaws are actually attached to the resolution. You pass the resolution, you've adopted the bylaws.
Let me say one thing. Working with some of the nonprofits, the funding pool is really, really important. Since we've become a tier 2 county, it's harder for the nonprofits to qualify for applications. When we were tier 1, the need was there more. But since we've become a tier 2, this is very, very important for our nonprofits.
So, I think you can anticipate more applications.
Right.
And for those limited funds, and to have the eyes and ears of this group of dedicated people to make some preliminary looks and investigations into these various things, I think multiplies your time as a board of commissioners.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to say that we made I think Chester, when drawing these up, was very, very aware and paid particular attention to try to mirror this as close as possible to the way that business is currently and has been being conducted with respect to that community funding pool for a smooth transition.
It takes a lot of pressure off this board.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Can we get a motion to approve the resolution and the approval of the bylaws?
Make a motion to be approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Shields. Can you get a second?
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item E has been removed. Moving on to new business. Item 11A, occupancy tax penalty waiver request for Beth Strickland. Chester?
I guess I can start that process. A couple of months back, you had one of these, and if you'll recall, I advised you under the occupancy tax local bill for Macon County, the Macon County Commissioners are specifically authorized by that bill to look at requests for waivers of penalties under this occupancy tax law. And basically what the law says is that if somebody comes to you and for good cause shows you that they shouldn't really be penalized, you have the authority upon finding good cause to excuse that penalty. Ms. Strickland, I believe, resides in Gainesville, Georgia, and I think she has provided some information to Lori Hall as well, and I think Lori has forwarded that on to the commissioners for consideration. It is my understanding, and please correct me, Lori, if I'm wrong, Ms. Strickland is not here this evening, and she did speak with Lori Hall and asked that her request for relief from this penalty be decided upon the materials provided to the Board of Commissioners and to Lori Hall. And Lori, do the commissioners have all of those materials?
Yes, I emailed them to you guys yesterday, and I also placed a copy at your seat.
Can you give me a rough idea on the amount?
Yes, the total amount of her penalties are $1,101.92.
That's just in the penalties. So
That's $1,090 of penalty and $11.92 of interest, which
Okay.
counts as a penalty as well.
Okay.
she's paid her tax.
I was going to ask.
And ever since this last communication with her, she was hoping to actually come last month, but she had another engagement. And then she apologizes she couldn't be here tonight, but she's sick, so she asked me to, like Chester said, to please go ahead and act on this. She don't want to delay it any longer. If you recall, the one from last month, I think it was, or January, you guys waived the $10 per day penalty, but imposed the interest penalty. So I just wanted to remind you of that. So like I said, hers would be $1,090 of the $10 penalty, and then her interest is $11.92. So
Okay. Well, I think
As you
I would
will
think we need to be
recall, the
consistent,
penalties
so
are pretty steep.
They are.
Under
Yes.
that, there's
they're very steep.
there's an interest, and then there is a dollar figure, flat
Yeah,
dollar figure.
$10 per
I think we
day.
determined for our discussion at the last meeting that this is a tough situation because you're penalizing the people that are trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
When there's a whole lot of people that aren't paying anything. And we've got to get our arms as a board wrapped around how we handle that. And I can assure you that the county manager and I had lunch 2 weeks ago with that in mind. So the ball is starting to roll down the aisle. So anyway, with that being said, I would make the recommendation that we do the same as we did last month. But
Find good
y'all's
cause.
discretion. Yeah.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor for interest only.
Second.
Got a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. I will contact Ms. Strickland tomorrow and pass that along.
All right, item 11B, letter in support of Smoky Mountain Relay. County Manager.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we have executed these in the past. It's just basically Macon County acknowledging that Sourwood Running LLC, who hosts the Smoky Mountain Relay, acknowledging the fact that a portion of that race will be coming through Macon County. As I understand, and everything I've been able to find on this Smoky Mountain Relay is a tremendous draw to Western North Carolina. And as you can see here that has been included in the agenda packet, it'll be occurring on April 26th and 27th, and it will come into a portion of Macon County, and therefore that the North Carolina Department of Transportation requests that each Board of Commissioners for each county acknowledge and essentially approve that race being held in the county.
Motion approved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Higdon, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor?
Aye. I will not be participating in that.
You're not going to be participating?
If you're asking.
Oh, come on, Ronnie.
Don't want to retain your title?
No, I don't. Somebody else do it this time.
All right. Item 11C, acknowledgement letter request from Burnington, Iola Volunteer Fire Department. Y'all are up. Welcome, gentlemen. Concerning the purchase of a 1998 Freightliner
Welcome,
pumper tanker.
Thank you.
Mike Yaks, Board
Who's
Chair.
that with you?
Yeah, I'm Mike Yaks, Board Chair for Burnington, Iowa Fire and Rescue. And as Mr. Tate just mentioned, we submitted a request for letters of approval from the county commissioners. We're looking to acquire an additional apparatus for our department. Currently, we've got 8 trucks in the fleet, 4 of which, 2 of which are mini pumpers. One is a command vehicle and the other one is a service truck, which is required by ISO. As far as mainline goes, we've got a mainline pumper and tanker at each of our 2 stations, but we do not have a backup pumper, which is what we're looking to acquire. And we found an apparatus from Clay County, which is actually a sister truck to one that we purchased a couple of years ago, 4-wheel drive pumper. It's $35,000. It's well within our budget. This truck will allow us to have a backup pumper. And as most of you know, we over the past few years, we dropped our ISO rating from a 9 years back down to an 8, and then last year down to a 5 for the district, which was very substantial. So anyhow, during the testing last year, we did learn from the Office of the State Fire Marshal that if we had a backup pumper, we would have gained another half a point towards a lower rating, which along with some other goals we have, we hope to be able to get down to a 4 the next time around. So we're here tonight just asking for the letters of approval to acquire that vehicle.
Good. Need a motion to approve the same?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Shields.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bill. Just under discussion, I would like to reiterate to you gentlemen, I've been copied down on Warren's correspondence with y'all about moving forward on this, and he thanks y'all both for taking the process the correct way, and has some suggestions on a few items moving forward. So
Okay.
I concur. But with that being said, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Burnington Fire Department.
Thank you.
All right, consent agenda. Unless there's something that someone would like removed, we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Got a motion by Commissioner Gillespie. Second by Commissioner Higgin. All in favor? Aye. All right, we have one appointment. It's Mr. Bill Dyer to the Macon County Library Board.
Motion to approve, Mr. Dyer.
Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor?
Aye.
Chester, I'll let you give us that statute again for closed session.
We need to go into closed session under the provisions of General Statute 143-318.11 A3 and 5 for the purpose of preserving the attorney-client privilege and to instruct staff and agents of the county concerning the negotiation of possible acquisition of real estate.
Thank you. Need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Bill,
Second.
second by Commissioner Shields. Discussion. Chester, are we expecting any action from the media?
Actually, there will be one very small
Sorry.
bit.
That'll be about 11:30.
Sit down there, Graham.
Macon County Sheriff's Department for assistance by the county under statutory law to commence a lawsuit dealing with some nuisance issues. I think there's an indication that you'd be willing to approve that lawsuit being filed. The case would be filed against 3 individuals that have ownership interest in the property where we believe there are problems. The individuals, Randy Collins, William Stephen Shepherd, and Dusty Collins. And I would need authority to bring that lawsuit on behalf of the county, and really ultimately the county bringing it on behalf of the state of North Carolina, the State Bureau of Investigation, and the Macon County Sheriff's Department have requested county assist in this regard. And I would need, if you're inclined to so authorize, I would need the authority of the county to be given to Derek Rowland as county manager to verify the complaint that would be filed in court.
Can we get a motion in the same? Someone, discussion, question? All right, further questions?
Let them make the motion. Give them an opportunity to succeed.
He doesn't need to be making.
So,
Need to be clear what Mr. King.
as liaison to the Sheriff's Department, on the recommendation of our attorney and the sheriff, I make the motion that we proceed with the attorney and the sheriff recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Bill. Can we get a second? We've got a second by Commissioner Shields. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of proceeding with the suit, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Sorry.